So first of all, I would like to say welcome back everybody who is not new to the channel, and I want to say a very special welcome and hi and hello and a big hug to all of my new subscribers. So welcome to Shar Stories. Get your coffee, sit down, and I'm going to tell you about the story of my first cruise and some of the things that I learned and some of the mistakes that I made and how I grew from there. I went on my first cruise in February of 2011 on the Carnival Fantasy out of Charleston, South Carolina. Now, I was dating a guy at the time, and he was already going on the cruise with his family, so he asked me, did I want to come? And I'm like, well, yeah, I want to come. And he was like, all right, well, I already paid for it. You know, you just have to pay for the port fees and taxes, and yeah, come along with me. So I was like, all right, that's fine. Now, mind you, I live in Florida, and Charleston, South Carolina is a good 6 hours away if you drive, and maybe like an hour or so if you fly. Not very long. So anyway, I decided I was going on the cruise, and I decided that I was going to fly into South Carolina. So flew to South Carolina, he picked me up, we went on the cruise, you know, everything like that. Now, my first mistake that I made is, all I knew is that I was going on a cruise. I didn't know anything else about cruising, hadn't done any research, didn't know anything about boats, didn't know anything about anything. The only thing that I knew is that I was going on a cruise. Not prepared at all. Don't do that. So anyway, don't do that. Now, with that being said, since I had no experience in cruising, you know, I didn't take any time to research anything. I didn't know anything about, I mean, I knew where we were going, but I mean, I didn't know anything else other than that. I really wasn't prepared at all. I wasn't really financially prepared. My packing was horrible. You know, I did have my correct documentation, but that was about it. I had no idea what to expect, what to look out for, what to try to engage in. Like, I was just clueless. Like, all I knew is that I was getting on a boat, going to the Bahamas for 7 days, and hopefully coming back. So with that being said, I kind of did some thinking, and I said, you know, I really want to share with my subscribers some of the things that help me when I'm getting ready to go on a cruise. Now, as you may know, I'm getting ready to go on a cruise in July with Miss Bird Lady TTC. Me and her are going to be solo travelers, and we're going to Nassau, overnight Nassau. So I'm really looking forward to that. So with that, I was trying to see, okay, well, what can I share with my subscribers as far as some of the things that I do to get prepared for my cruises. So my first tip, this is tip number one, my first tip is to really think about what kind of experience you want to have, because people go on cruises and vacations for different reasons. Some people go to parties, some people go because they're adventurous and they want to do all these excursions. Some people just go to eat and drink. I'm not mad at you. But you know, just people just go for different reasons. You know, people may be celebrating something, weddings, family reunions, birthdays, you know, whatever. So just think about what type of experience you want to have, and that kind of will help you to tailor my other 4 tips. So my tip number 2 is to research as much as you can. There's so much information online. Whatever cruise line that you choose, their website is really full of information. There's of course YouTube. I mean, there's Pinterest, there's Facebook groups, there's all kinds of resources, you know, that you can pull from, you know, to research your cruise. My suggestion would be to research your ports, research your ship, research things, you know, some of the amenities that the ship has. Like, a lot of these, especially these new mega ships, come with so many different activities, so many different things. So research your ports, where you're going, research your ship, find out where your room is. You do not want to be right below the club or right above the galley where they're cooking. Like, those are not good spots. So do your research your ports, research your ships, research your room. Try to find out, if you can, what's included, what's extra. Some cruise lines offer things that are included, some cruise lines offer things that are extra, so that might kind of help you to kind of make your decisions and, you know, just help your overall cruise experience. Tip number 3 is budget. I think it's really important to know your budget before you go on a cruise. Know what you can afford, because I'm gonna tell you one thing: just because you buy your cruise fare, you're not done spending money once you pay for your cruise. And I think that's where a lot of people, you know, get not confused, but they don't consider, you know, the extra things. Like, as far as your budget, you have to figure out, after you've already paid for your cruise. Okay, your cruise is already paid for. Okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to go on excursions? Well, you need to factor in how many excursions you want to go on and how much you want to pay for that. Okay, if you are planning to, if you don't live in close to your home port, you have to figure out how you're gonna get there, right? I mean, even if you drive, because I'm a Florida girl, I drive to all of my ports, but it's still not free. You know, I have to make sure that I am prepared. If I'm driving my car, I have to make sure my car is maintained. I have to have gas, parking. If I'm gonna park at the port, you know, it's $20+ a day. That's something that you have to consider. I mean, that can take a big chunk out of your budget. So, you know, those are the things you have to look out for if you are flying in. You got to consider, okay, how much is this flight gonna cost me? You know, not only the flight, but you know, transfers. Am I gonna have to take Uber or Lyft to get to, you know, the cruise port? So those are things you kind of have to consider, you know, whenever you book your cruise. It's not just paying for the cruise fare. You have other things that, you know, you need to consider. And then one of the last things I want to talk about with budget is, be warned, your Sail Inside card is not going to decline. So you can swipe all day long, but you better make sure that you have the money to back it up at the end of the cruise, because they're not going to let you off the ship and you're going to be stuck there and handed over to the port authority. So be careful when you're, you know, using your card on the ship. Check your balance. There's lots of different ways nowadays to check your balance. They have it on TVs. They have it where you can go to guest services and get a printout. I know Carnival has a kiosk you can go to and get a printout or pay or what have you. So make sure you keep on top of those things, and that'll help you to have a better cruise experience. And then my number 4 is your checkoffs. Now, the first time I cruised, I did not cruise with a birth certificate or passport. our cruise with a passport card. Now, me, I should have went ahead and got the passport, right? Because, I mean, you can go anywhere with the passport, but I didn't. I got the passport card. Now, usually passports are good for like 10 years, but what my recommendation is, as far as your checkoffs, make sure your documentation is good. Make sure your driver's license is not expired. Make sure that your passport is not going to expire before your cruise, because sometimes you may book a cruise a year or two in advance, and if you don't check your documentation, you know, that could be a problem trying to get on the ship or trying to get off the ship, or, you know, if something happens, you want to make sure your documentation is good. You know, make sure you print out all of your cruise contracts, your boarding passes, your luggage tags, all of those types of things. Try to get a head start on that. One other thing that I also recommend is, if you plan on using your cards, like your credit card or whatever, abroad, call your credit card company. Let them know, hey, I'm going to Mexico and Jamaica on these dates, and just so you know, this is where I'm going to be. Please don't cut me off, you know, because I'm going to need to use my card. And, you know, they're really good about that. They'll update your account, you know, that way you don't run into problems with fraud, and, you know, you don't get to where you're trying to pay for something and you get declined. So I would do that. And then lastly, if you absolutely have to have your phone, I know some people have family members that they have to keep in contact with, or work for emergencies, depending on what you do. Call your cell phone provider and see if they have like some type of package for traveling abroad, because I mean, nobody's in the United States all the time, and you don't want to be having to pay international and roaming charges. So call them and say, hey, I'm going on a cruise this month. Is there some type of package that you can add to my account just for this month, in case I have to make a phone call? You know, I don't want to come back to $1,000 cell phone bill. So that will be my recommendation for your checkoffs. And number 5 is the hardest thing for me, you guys. Like, I have such a hard time with this, and I do it every single time. Packing. Go through whatever you think that you might need and take out half of it. Because on my first cruise, I took like 3 or 4 pairs of jeans going to the Bahamas. Now, I'm a plus size girl, and jeans are not created equal, and those son of a guns were heavy, okay? Did not wear one pair of long jeans the whole trip. Wore my suitcase down. Think about where you're going. Think about what you're absolutely gonna need, and only take that stuff. Because you take all these clothes, all these things, all these outfits. No, just tell yourself, this is what I'm taking. This is what I absolutely need, so that you don't aggravate yourself. Because I was aggravated with myself and all of the stuff that I had, and it was absolutely ridiculous. So that's those are my tips for the day. My 5 tips. Think about what type of cruise experience you want to have. Do your research, figure out your budget, do your checkoffs, and don't pack all that stuff. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have not, please consider subscribing to my channel. If you could also give me a big thumbs up. Please comment down below if you have any questions about anything that I said, any other tips that you want to share with our community, so that we can all be in the know. That would be greatly appreciated. I love interacting with you guys. I love it when you leave me comments, and I love to know, you know, what you guys' thoughts are, you know, on some of these things, so we can share with each other. Because there are some things I might not know. I've been on 10, I would have gone on 10 cruises, but still, I learn something every time I go on a cruise, and no cruise has been the same. So I really appreciate you guys. I hope that you are happy. I hope that you are fabulous, and I will talk to you in the next video. See ya.